season. The She-Wolves out to keep the pressure on Bayern München in the title race. Freiburg out for revenge for the DFB-Pokal defeat a few weeks ago. Win here in the Outerstadt, and they would close the gap on their hosts to just 3 points.
Verehrte Fans und Spieler vom FC Freiburg und vom VfL Wolfsburg, verehrte Freundinnen und Freunde des Fußballs.
Now Stefan Lech, all smiles pre-kick-off. Whether he will be come the end of the match remains to be seen. For now, let's dive into the team news, starting with Lech's lineup. He makes 3 changes to the side that beat Leipzig 3-1 before the international break. There are fresh legs out wide in the back four as Judith Pujols and Joel Wedemeyer, who signed a contract extension until 2029 this week, start. And then up front with Linnet Berenstein out due to a tendon injury. The final change sees Kessia Bussi replaced by Alex Popp, the Wolfsburg captain, up front. As for Freiburg, there are also 3 changes in Edmond Kaplani's side compared to the team that beat Karl Zeiss Jena 3-0 a few weeks ago. 17-year-old centre-back Mia-Lena Maas drops to the bench in place of Greta Stegemann. Merit Felder is in for Mads Schneider, while top goal scorer Luca Birkholz misses out due to illness. Svenja Fumley takes her place. Volunteer work is being recognised with that banner there. Plenty of volunteer work goes in around the grounds in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga, so the recognition richly deserved. And now, on what is a very chilly night in the north of Germany, Freiburg have made the long trip from Germany's southwest. But can they go one better than they did in the DFB Pokal? It was a tough night here, a 3-1 defeat. Linnet Berenstein opened the scoring. There was an own goal from Nia Cenk soon after. The second half got underway. Cora Thackeray, the former Freiburg player, then wrapped up the win before Sophie Nachtigall scored arguably the goal of the evening, albeit a consolation effort. Camilla Kuva missed out due to injury in the Nations League final. Germany drawing 0-0 on home soil against Spain and then suffering a disappointing 3-0 loss in Madrid in the second leg of that final. Kuva missed out due to injury, but is back in the Wolfsburg lineup tonight. With the Friday night floodlights on full beam as we raise the curtain on Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga match day 12, Wolfsburg against Freiburg. 6 points separate these sides with 3 on offer. The She-Wolves knocked tonight's visitors out of the DFB Pokal der Frauen 3 weeks ago. But can they make it a league and cup double here tonight? James Thurgood, your match commentator. Delighted to have the pleasure of your company. Friday night at the end of what has been a big week for German women's football. Plenty of excitement generated by news that Germany would be hosting Euro 2029. While that is still a few years away, it really is recognition for the rising popularity and professionalism of the women's games on these shores. Germany 8-time European champions, record title holders, but haven't hosted the tournament since 2001. And tonight, a glimpse at maybe some of the players that might be a prominent feature in that Germany team in 4 years' time. Cora Thackeray, former Freiburg player, now on the Wolfsburg book. Stefan Lech didn't put her in his starting lineup for the cup game 3 weeks ago, but she does feature from the off against side tonight, having scored the third in Wolfsburg's 3-1 win on that occasion. Camilla Kuva, lovely ball out to Cora Thackeray. take on her former teammate and good friend Niachenk, who will be hoping for a moment to maybe atone for the error of the own goal that really put Wolfsburg on course for victory. Right now Freiburg down the other end firmly. Shot into the side netting. Johannes saw it the whole way. Edmond Kaplani, the Freiburg head coach, wanted to see more bravery, more courage from his side, and already the first foray forward gives Wolfsburg something to consider. It was Kaplani who felt his side weren't brave enough in the cup match, and ultimately their bravery, their courage came too late, as the game had already been wrestled out of their grasp by a very clinical and proficient Wolfsburg performance. Tessa Blumenberg, a young woman with a Wolfsburg past, never made the breakthrough with the senior side, but has been in good form at the start of this season for Freiburg. Oftentimes coming from the bench tonight, rewarded with a start. Niachenk does well to win the ball back here for Freiburg. Cross deflected, but not behind for a corner. The battle in midfield will be so determinant tonight in deciding how this 90 minutes of the beautiful game might play out. Wolfsburg quickly establishing an early grip on the game, but Freiburg willing to let that happen in the hope that they can search for their goal-scoring opportunities in transition. Schenk under pressure. Ojukwu clearance and firmly tries to make something of it. Brilliant play by Firmly to keep it in, but can't keep Freiburg in possession. The visitors dealing with the absence of Ali Gudorf, Alina Axman, Julia Sterli and Sophie Nachtigall before the game, and then two big absent the matchday squad today. Raised a few eyebrows. Already Silag and top goal scorer Luka Birkolz, both summer signings, both have been finding the back of the net quite regularly for Freiburg this season. Both tonight though missing out due to illness. Birkolz, the last 7 league outings, a huge loss. Silag have been chipping away in the goal scoring department and would have been the most obvious like-for-like replacement. Instead, Svenja Firmly, who is making her way back from another spell on the sidelines, now making her first start since September. Ella Pedamoz trying to make a nuisance of herself against Nicola Ojukwu. First half chance in front of Laura Benkart's goal. Pujols does well. Caitlin Dijkstra finding Cuva. lovely touch from Thackeray, and the Trivela pass was a nice idea. It doesn't come off, but play pulled back for a foul on Thackeray by Niache. Wolfsburg carry a great threat from set pieces. Mahayuti floats this one in and it's attacked. It comes through to Alex Pop at the back post. Went to be unselfish. Didn't produce the shot herself. There's Uddhav with the clearance. With the shot blocked, Latvine picks up the pieces. Pop again the target. Wolfsburg with every single outfield player inside the Freiburg. If Freiburg could find the outlet pass, it could be dangerous, but right now all the pressure being mounted by the women in green. It's a nice pass to find Dijkstra. Pocket of space, no one closes her down. Pop, lovely flick, but no one on the end of it. Guess really it can't be lovely unless it actually finds its mark. But a neat attempt from the legend that is Alexandra Pop. Now in her 18th Frauen-Bundesliga season. 328 appearances, including tonight. 154 goals, and among active players in Germany's top flight, only her teammate Svenja Huth boasts more appearances with 331, including tonight's. Those two combined, and arguably actually individually, probably have more Frauen-Bundesliga appearances to their name than the Freiburg starting lineup combined. A testament to their legacy and longevity. They will go down as two of the greatest of all time, whenever they so choose to hang up those illustrious boots of theirs. Hopefully, it won't be any time soon. But at some point, Wolfsburg are going to have to transition from the Hoot and Pop era. There's now Pedamores with the strike, seen all the way by Benkart, gobbled up into her gloves. First time she's been called into action. Well, one in mid. Firmly. Felder, the pass just behind Vorbian. She does well to take it in stride. Now with Lila Egli, overlapping wrong, but Egli goes alone! Take a bow! Lila Egli and Freiburg, on a night they want to exact some revenge for the DFB Pokal defeat, have struck first at the AOK Stadion. And that is a goal of real quality from Lila Egli. 18 years old, the Swiss international seizes the opportunity. Picks out the top corner with aplomb. And it's Wolfsburg 0, Freiburg 0. Edmond Kaplani wanted more bravery, and it's exactly what he's gotten in transition from his side. It's a one-track mind almost. We saw it from Fumley when she had the snap side netting. There on that occasion, Fumley winning the ball, putting some pressure on in midfield as she does again here to win it back. Then took the chance to drive forward, and Vorbian with that killer final pass to find Egli, who still had work to do. But the bravery, the belief to go for goal, to try and pick out the top corner, magnificent from the youngster. Ojukwu kept in the mix firmly. Fitness issues aside, Svenja Fumley remains one of the best finishers in the Frauen Bundesliga. The problem is she misses so many games through injury, she never really gets to show off her talents. But she's the type of striker who needs the merest of sniff in front of goal to make something happen. Another drive from range there from Fumley. Sent well wide. Look at this ambitious press from Freiburg, buoyed by the opening goal. Game already taking on a different complexion to the DFB Pokal tie we had 3 weeks ago, because it was in that game that Wolfsburg took the lead. When the first, an already difficult uphill battle only gets more difficult for a team like Freiburg, but when they take the lead, it's a very different proposition. They need to hold on to it for as long as they can. They're going to have defending to do, but they'll have known that pre-match. This free kick comes in. It's flicked on by Kuva, but well wide of the target. Tonight, one of those nights where Freiburg are going to have to really sacrifice and be willing to sacrifice if they want to seize on the brave start they've made. Edmond Kaplani will be happy with that. He's talked about the fact that his side, he feels, have been conceding goals too easily, and tonight is not the night for that trend to continue. One of the keys to victory for Die Breisgauerin, ultimately to limit the aid, which in turn should limit Wolfsburg's opportunities. The harder you can make Stefan Lech's side work, the better. They've got one of the best attacking departments in the league, second only to Bayern München. Now they're trying to tap into those talents, as Pot's header is well dealt with by Benkart. Joint top goal scorer this season with 6 to her name, Alex Pop. Level at the top of the charts with Linnet Berenstein, who's out injured tonight with a tendon problem. As a result, Pop leads the line, and Pop has already had a few sights of goal. Thackeray. Pujols on the overlap. Cross intercepted. Comes to Kieland. Latwijn. Back to Justine Kieland. Thackeray with a little bit of space to work with. Cross always favoured the Freiburg goalkeeper there. goal scorer Egli. Couldn't quite keep the momentum going there for her side. Now gets it back from Lisa Carl, the captain. Nice idea, looking for the early pass to feed the runner firmly. Just didn't quite get her angles right on that occasion, Leila Egli. Third goal of the season. Certainly the pick of the bunch. She netted against Hamburg and against Nuremberg, but a huge goal in a huge game here against Wolfsburg, and not just the magnitude of the goal, but the quality of it too. Already the first goal of match day 12, an early contender for goal of the weekend, I reckon. And interestingly, Leila Egli, with 3 goals this season, has now matched the entire output of her Freiburg career before this current campaign. Now Latvine might strike from range. Wolfsburg chipping away, Wedemeyer. Out to Svenja Hoot. Pop the target! And this time she can't find it. Certainly a positive response to falling behind from the home side, which was to be expected. They certainly weren't about to sit back and accept their fate. Favourites before the game, they want to force home that point if they can. Now, Stefan Lech talked about this being one of the more challenging pre-match preparations he's ever had to deal with in his coaching career, due to the fact that he didn't have all of his players back on the training pitch until yesterday, and as a result he felt communication was stretched. Had to try and get across a lot of messages in a very short space of time to many of his players. And coming back from an international break, Wolfsburg certainly harder hit than Freiburg. They have a few more players that go off on international duty, but now Svenja Hoot taking on Lisa Carl, and again doing her job between the sticks for Freiburg, just to deal with the danger that was brewing. Svenja Hoot, former Germany international. Kaplani applauding on the sidelines, because while that build-up play broke down, his women have clearly heeded his words. As he pointed out before this game, we are a young side, but he says he always demands brave football, and he felt that they really fell short in that department. Showed far too much respect to Wolfsburg in the cup tie a few weeks ago. And today, little respect being shown, but in a healthy way by Freiburg, and it's given them the early lead as Tessa Blumenberg chipping in on the defensive end and does well. Cenk then, oh, brilliant turn against her good friend Cora Thackeray. Leaves her to eat a bit of dust, and Fumley's trying to do the same here against Kuva, but Kuva does really well to make her physical presence felt in the foot race. Blumenberg. The bursting run down the right wing and forces a throw-in out of the home side. 20 years old, 3 goals to a name already this season. She only made 1 senior appearance. It was a 9-minute outing off the bench, Tessa Blumenberg. Over 50 appearances for the Wolfsburg reserve side, who apply their trade in the lower leagues of German women's football. But it's with Freiburg here where she's getting regular minutes in the first team. Seems to have taken another step forward in her development at the start of this season. Firmly. Can't squeeze the pass through, and then it's a poor one to Ajit, who gets caught on her heels. And now Thackeray has a bit of room to work with. Firmly gets a deflection on the cross, so she made up for the concession of possession. Now Stefan Lech talked about Freiburg as being a refreshing side who have a few surprises up their sleeves at all times, and they've sprung one today with the opening goal. Wolfsburg will feel that with their quality over the course of 90 minutes they will still have avenues back into this game. The second goal would do Freiburg a world of good in their hopes of picking up what would be 3 precious points here tonight. Because a reminder, just 6 points separating these two teams in the Frauen Bundesliga. Wolfsburg sat in second, Freiburg in 5th at the start of play. But a win for Freiburg would move them up into 3rd for the time being, at least, above Frankfurt and Werder Bremen. You have to say, if they were to move on to 22 points from the opening 12 games of the season, that would be a remarkable return. Freiburg, who finished 5th last season with 38 points to their name. Not many expected them to necessarily take a step forward in Edmond Kaplani's first season in charge, especially given the fact that he did lose a few players in the summer to bigger clubs. Cora Thackeray, of course, chief amongst those players. Now combining with Pop. Lovely little 1-2, Cora Thackeray. A chop, a turn, in the end crowded out. And the fact is, this Freiburg team are well aware of her talents, they're well aware of her preferences, and they're well aware of her party pieces, of which she has many, Cora Thackeray. Years old, she really is one of the future stars of German women's football. And Euro 2029, which Germany will host, she's the type of player that could be a prominent figure in the first team in a few years' time. There really is going to be a bit of a golden generation for Germany in Euro 2029. You have to think the likes of Jule Brand, Clara Bühl will have even more experience to add to their world-class talents. Julia Gwynn will be in the prime of her career. Janina Minge, Sarai Linde. Big names. Sjoeke Nusken, Alara. Selina Cerci, Nicole Anyomi, Lisanne Greve. Lea Schuller. I mean, these are names that aren't going anywhere and will only be getting better before that tournament is hosted. Wolfsburg, one of the 8 host cities, but the games won't be held here at the AOK Stadion. Instead, they will be at the ground that is just next door, the Volkswagen Arena, which has opened its doors many a time for the women's team. It's where the men ply their trade on a regular basis. It'll be Munich's Allianz Arena that hosts the final. Understandable given the size of that stadium, the infrastructure available to deal with a game of that magnitude. Thackeray, lovely first touch. Cushioned round the corner, but Pujols was making the run but didn't really seem to commit to it when she needed to. Nice ball from Benkart to Felder. Egli does well to keep it in play. One-on-one with Joel Wedemeyer. Very big difference in the experience stakes for those two players. Egli 18 years old, Wedemeyer over 10 years her senior. Fresh from signing a contract extension until 2029 with the club. Here's Cora Thackeray, goes for goal herself on that favoured right foot of hers. Loves to get the ball in those types of positions just outside the area. Loves to then pick her spots. This time dragging the effort just wide. Now, Freiburg will not want to give her many of those opportunities here tonight, because Leila Egli at the other end has picked her spot. Cora Thackeray doesn't need many opportunities to do the same. Pressure applied by Wolfsburg. The She-Wolves come away with the ball now with Judith Pujols. Cuva fancies a marauding run. Cheeky backheel to Pujols from Thackeray. That was a lovely shape on the cross, just no one there to meet it over the head of Pop. Pujols now round the corner for Thackeray. Ajuku does well just to stifle the threat that was being generated, but then a little threat put back into the mix by Tessa Blumenberg unwittingly. Errant pass back to Cenk, and that's a lovely move. Pennemoors deflected behind for a corner. Wolfsburg themselves have been in fine goal-scoring form as a collective. Berenstein and Pop lead the charts with 6, but players like Ella Pennemoors have been chipping in as often as they can. Pennemoors already with 3 goals to her name, to go along with a couple that she scored in the Champions League as well. Now a corner, they've packed out the front post here, Wolfsburg. Latvine to meet the corner, and Benkart with the save. The header just lacked the pace to produce the equaliser. And the goalkeeper of Laura Benkart's quality and experience is not going to be beaten by a header like that. Career that has come full circle for the 33-year-old. Now back with her Herzensverein, as she calls it, the club of her heart would be the translation. Came through the academy with Freiburg, spent 10 years on the books before joining Bayern, then went to Lyon. Now back with Freiburg since the summer. Nice ball in behind, and Fumley's made the run. Johannes off a line. Gets there, but the offside flag ultimately what stops Freiburg in their tracks.
Ja, guter Weg, Ella! Brauchen wir gut so! Gut her, weiter!
Thackeray. It continues to be one-way traffic in the Autostadt, as Wolfsburg is affectionately known for its ties to the automotive industry. A city that wouldn't exist were it not for the factories put in place by Volkswagen and Porsche. It's often joked about, but it really is the case. Pretty much everyone you meet in Wolfsburg has some sort of connection to one of the automotive factories in the city, whether it be through friends, family, or personally themselves. Now Blumenberg, nice bit of front foot defending and then skips past Pedamors. Eggli's on the run, but the channel wasn't really there to work. Ajuku now. Freiburg's counter-attack curtailed momentarily. And look there, Freiburg knew they were going to have to be clinical tonight. They knew they were going to have to take their chances. They produced a flurry of them early on, and then Leila Egli struck. Since then, it's all Wolfsburg pretty much, dominating every statistical department, but the one that counts. They find themselves still behind on the scoreline, and while the response has been positive, Laura Benkart has only really had to make one troubled save where she was truly tested. Wolfsburg side with 37 goals to their name already in 11 matches this season. You don't need me to do the maths to tell you that's over 3 a game. Haven't produced a single blank in front of goal in the Frauen Bundesliga this season. In 10 of their 11 matches, they've scored 2 or more goals. The only team to hold them to a goal or less was Bayern. A 3-1 defeat here at the AOK Stadion, coming back the beginning of October. Now to Kai. Can't cut inside on Stegemann. Looks like the knee of Thackeray might have caught the tailbone of Stegemann, and I'll tell you what, it'll be the tailbone that feels that more than the knee. Stegemann is in a world of pain. In fairness, if you've ever hit your tailbone, you will know. There are few more unpleasant feelings. It is. She just tried to skip inside, and it's the left knee. Oh, it's comedic in how unwitting it is there from Cora Thackeray. Wonderful defending by Stegemann. Takes one for the cause. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, because it's a very vulnerable part of the body that you honestly don't often see struck in the world of football. You might get a heavy fall from a high height when maybe an aerial duel has gone astray. Cora Thackeray certainly wasn't aiming to make contact with her former teammate, as we see that chance that just opened up for Thackeray again. And in the end, it was Siodadatir who stood touch tight to make sure that the chance never really opened up. But Thackeray, everything promising for Wolfsburg this evening against her former club. She didn't start in the DFB Pokal tie a few weeks ago, which raised a few eyebrows. But she's in the starting lineup tonight and desperate to make her mark. Not in the way she did against Greta Stegemann's body, but preferably on the score sheet, and this will be Greta Stegemann either dealing with a bit of a dead leg, having taken a knee to the buttock, or it might even be a touch of the tailbone. For now, corner comes in, and Benkart, immense pressure being put on the Freiburg goalkeeper there, and she holds her own. This is the interesting situation right now. Freiburg down to 10 women. They won't want to run any risks right now. Felder has dropped in as a replacement centre-back for the time being. Mia-Lena Maas is on the bench, the 17-year-old who dropped out of the starting lineup in favour of Stegemann tonight. Stegemann, still 24 years old, quite young herself, but a bit more experienced than her 17-year-old counterpart. Thackeray has swapped flanks. Now Latvine. Early ball in, and Benkart quick to it. Want to touch on this point too early, just in case I tempt the fates a little too much, but we talk about the head-to-head record between these two sides. It is worth pointing out that you have to go back to November of 2017 for the last time Freiburg beat Wolfsburg. Back then it was on home soil, and funny enough it was a certain Julia Kvin who scored the only goal of the game. Wolfsburg won away back before half-time. Clearance completed by Cenk. Firmly, again, back to goal, doing the hold-up play, which is so important tonight. Every moment she can just provide extra seconds for support to arrive. Maybe just give her side a chance to breathe and recover, because it's been very intense. 40 minutes played, a couple more before half-time. And right now Freiburg are inviting a lot of pressure towards their goal, which is a dangerous game to play if you can't find outlets at any point, which since they scored they've really struggled to do, truth be told. At the same time, they are doing a lot to keep Wolfsburg at arm's length and stifle the undeniable individual quality that the She-Wolves have in what is a star-studded squad. Now the calls for Wolfsburg to press high. Thackeray gives chase. Blumenberg. Oh, you can see what she was trying to do. The ball didn't have the pace on it to do that, and Pop strikes wide. That's what Stefan Lech wants to see. Cora Thackeray again at the heart of Wolfsburg's best play. First line of defence, then picks out Pop with the pass, and Pop actually probably had time to take a touch to settle herself before the shot. In the end, snatches at it and sends it wide. How precious for Edmond Kaplani if his side can see out the first half with this narrow lead intact. Revenge is a pretty motivating thing, and Freiburg want it here tonight, and they've laid the foundation to get it. Piols puts it into the mix. Karl invites a bit of pressure from Hoot and takes the better safe than sorry approach. Latvine, nice pass to Weidemeyer. Sakai just misjudging the flight of the ball. Now Piols. Lovely ball to break the lines for Hoot. Pocket of space. Hoot seizes the chance to go for goal. In the end, a rather tame effort dealt with by Benkart. Bread and butter goalkeeping for someone of her qualities. 6 hours if traffic's on your side. The trip from Freiburg all the way north to Wolfsburg. But plenty of fans have made that trip, and that drum is being banged rather loudly by the travelling supporters, who have had a lot to enjoy in this first half, albeit a lot of pressure that they've seen their side withstand and have to withstand. Minutes of time added on as Wolfsburg still look for an equaliser before the break. Pop closed out in the end. I have to say, Greta Stegemann and Ingeborg Ziodadot here doing a magnificent job of marshalling that Freiburg backline, the two centre-backs between them. And it probably takes the combined forces to prevent Pop doing what she has done over the course of her incredible career. Influence play, score big goals. Laura Benkart right now, 45 minutes removed from being the first goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet against Wolfsburg this season. But we really shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. Wolfsburg, the type of team that can score 2, 3, 4, 5 in a single half of football, even if Freiburg are at their best. Oh, Niachenk. She was someone that really struggled after her own goal proved so costly in the cup. But right now, At half-time, Freiburg are 45 minutes removed from exacting their revenge for the DFB Pokal defeat from 3 weeks ago. Lila Egli with a special goal to break the deadlock before the quarter-hour mark, and while Wolfsburg have come on strong, they haven't found an equaliser. And at the break, it is Wolfsburg 0, Freiburg 1. and welcome back one and all to the AOK Stadion in the Autostadt of Wolfsburg in Germany's north, where the winter chill has firmly set in. But fresh back from the last international calendar year, Wolfsburg struggling to warm themselves up here on home soil. And they are 1-0 down right now as we gear up for the second half. As a result, a change at the from Shinde. Enderman is coming on and Ella Pedamors makes way. Suggestion that Stefan a little bit more up front, maybe get Enderman out on the right wing, Thackeray on the left wing, Svenja combining with Alexandra Pop, the lone striker tonight. Cora Thackeray has been magnificent, the best Wolfsburg player on the pitch, without question. Everything they've done in the final third has gone through her. They haven't found the goal. Meanwhile, Freiburg, you have to go back to the 14th minute of this match for their last shot on goal. But they lead 1-0. Leila Egli scoring a special goal that found the top corner to break the deadlock on the 11-minute mark. Sakai still able to smile. She's someone that admits that she's a very bad loser. So if the scoreline doesn't change, then it might be a bit of an uncomfortable evening for her. Though something tells me there will be a little bit of good feelings for her former team Freiburg if they do hold on here once the dust settles, but we are at least 45 minutes removed from that. Right now, Freiburg are 45 minutes removed from their first win against Wolfsburg since 2017. Leila Egli's goal, what separates the teams, and she's just won it back off Joel Wiedemeyer. Freiburg head coach Edmond Kaplani, he called for more bravery, he called for more courage, said that in the cup tie between these two sides 3 weeks ago, his side showed too much respect. In the opening exchanges tonight, they showed no respect. They got their lead, but since then, it's been pretty much one-way traffic in favour of the She-Wolves, and that will need to change if they want to avoid the game being swung out of their favour. And they're picking up at the start of the second half in the same way that they started the first. Team talks still ringing in the ears of both sets of players. Edmond Kaplani, something tells me he'd have asked for more of the same, but he'd have liked them to tap back into the performance that really saw them on the front foot in the first 15. That's corner, a real letdown from Selina Vorbia. Cora Thackeray gives chase to apply the pressure on Meritfelder. The game plan for Freiburg was always going to be more reactive. See what Wolfsburg throw at them, see how they can then respond. Maybe invite a bit of pressure, break in the counter, break on transition. Svenja Fumli tonight starting up front for Freiburg in the absence of Luca Birkholz, the top goal scorer, who has 5 goals in the last 7 games, and Aurelie Silag, the Swiss forward signed in the summer from Basel, who has 3 goals to her name as well, both missing out through illness. And that is this time of the cold snap has hit. Many areas of the country have already had a bit of snowfall. Christmas is fast approaching, and so too is the winter break, as is tradition in these parts. Freiburg with 2 games to go before the mid-season hiatus. Wolfsburg with an extra 1 on the fixture list due to their Champions League duties. Vivian Enderman. Now Dijkstra. Again, Wolfsburg with every player inside the Freiburg half, with the exception of their goalkeeper Stina Johannes. A familiar sight here tonight. Easy foul there to give against Selina, or Lille Egli, excuse me. Looking for a shoulder barge, but Pujols did well to get body between ball and marker. Enderman, the fresh legs. That one goes on the outside, Ciudada's here. Marshals the situation well and plays the ball off of Enderman and out for a goal kick. Wow. My first was the right call by the referee, Nemi Breyer, tonight. Yeah, absolutely the right call. I don't know how Enderman's got her head in her hands, wondering how that went against her. Brilliant play by the Icelandic centre-back, Ingebjörg Ciudada's. Feeling Alex Pop might have reached the penalty area too early there from the Freiburg goal kick, hence the retake. Hint of a handball there against Nikola Jukwu. Now Egli making herself a nuisance against Pujols. Seems like Egli has swapped flanks in this second half. They were definitely using her talents down the left wing in the first half. Now she's on the right. Maybe just a tactical nuance from Edmond Kaplani to keep Wolfsburg guessing. Can't keep that one in play. Take a look at this again. I mean, it just pops off the knee of Nikola Jukwu, who are doing incredibly harsh to give a handball there. As Pop now with a chance, and Wolfsburg have an equaliser early in the second half. Just what they needed, just what Stefan Lech would have called from at half-time, and it's produced by who else but Alex Pop. 7th of the season. She's the outright top goal scorer in the Frauen Bundesliga for the She-Wolves, who have the goal back that they were so desperately searching for. And you know what? I'm not even sure it goes down as an Alex Pop goal. Did she get her final touch? It didn't look like it. If anything, I think she's pointing to Justine Kielan saying, no, that's your goal. Well, there was a big touch on the head of, I believe it was Greta Stegemann. So maybe, if Kielan's unlucky, it might go down as an own goal. Well, the stadium announcer and the EOK Stadion crediting Alex Pop with a goal the same way I did. I just don't think it'll stay that way. Well, it was Wolfsburg who scored an early goal in the second half of the cup tie between these two sides. Back then it was Nia Cenk with an own goal. But the difference was that goal made it 2-0 to Wolfsburg on that particular evening. Tonight is the leveller. The momentum threatening to shift though, as Hoots finds Pop again. Just can't keep the header down. She's really up for this one though tonight, Alex Pop. Enderman. Oh, flitting. Pass 2, pass 3. Latvine lets it run. Tees up Pujols! Just wide. Oh, Wolfsburg herring out of the blocks at the start of this second half. Freiburg need to be wary of the momentum being generated by the home side. They kept them quiet in the first half, but keeping them quiet in the second looks like it's going to be a very different and more difficult proposition. Now Egli, this is the chances that Freiburg need to seize upon. Egli looking for another stunning effort, but that one was always going off target. That time, the pass out wide would have been better serving. Here you see the replay. The spin on the ball doesn't change at all. The fact that Pop almost admitted to Kieland and didn't get a touch, but my argument would be, and I don't want to take the goal away from Justin Kieland, don't get me wrong, but without the touch from Greta Stegeman's head, I don't think the ball spins the way it needs to creep in to that far corner. But I think Justin Kieland is probably the more worthy recipient of that goal than anyone else. Greta Stegeman certainly won't want it to go down as an own goal, and Pop didn't get a touch. So for Kieland, it is goal number 1 of the season, and only her second ever in Wolfsburg colours. Thackeray, she shone going forward, but now gets involved in the defensive duties as well, something that will certainly endear her to these Wolfsburg fans. And the goal from Kieland does mean that Wolfsburg avoid their first blank of the season in all competitions. Freiburg potentially join Bayern and OL Lyonnais in holding Wolfsburg to a single goal. Right now though, a mistake at the back from Stine Johannes, and firmly doesn't really capitalise on it. Freiburg just trying to keep themselves in possession, but having to go all the way back to their own goalkeeper, having literally won the ball in the Wolfsburg box. Blumenberg and Pujols just loft the ball in the air for a second. Cenk with the header, but straight to Kuva. Enderman stretching the game, the substitute. Oh, Carl did really well to stand her ground there as Enderman was looking to twist her inside and out. Firmly loses out against Dijkstra, not quite getting the foothold up front that she was in the opening exchanges of the first half. This is where Freiburg really missed Luca Birkholz. Had to make a big step up from Karl Zeiss-Jena. Birkholz had really been coming on strong in recent weeks, and actually even got called up to the Germany under-23 side, made her debut at that level on the international stage during the break. Unfortunately, illness has cost us the talents of Luca Birkholz in what is a fascinating Friday night fixture. Here the goal, no controversy about it, but there you can see the spin on the ball doesn't change. Pop does not get a touch. That's why the goal goes down as a first of the season for Justine Kieland. Half cross, half shot there from Nia Cenk and dealt with by Johannes. Edmond Kaplani now ready to make changes of his own as we approach the hour mark in the hopes that he can affect the game the same way the Enderman switch has for Wolfsburg. Pedamor's had that one shot from just outside the area which he curled towards goal and was saved by Benkart. But already through just under 15 minutes of this second half, Enderman has had a bigger impact on this game than Pedamor's did through the first 45. Here is Enderman. Nice little string of one-touch passing there from the home team. Pass cut out initially, but the second attempt finds its way to Pujols. Again, she tries to dig out an early cross to Kai with a glancing header. Dealt with by Benkart.
Raus da, Iti! Shinde! Komm, Lila! Guter Ball!
Changes at the ready for both teams. It's Elena Bientz and Lisa Kolb coming on for Freiburg, and Nicole Ojukwu and Svenja Fumli make way. So right now Freiburg, with half an hour left to play in this game, do not have a recognised striker on the pitch. Meanwhile, changes made for Wolfsburg as well. Cora Takai, such a bright spark all evening, has come off, so too Judith Pujols. So the two left-sided players for Wolfsburg make way. Janu Levels and Kessia Bussi enter the fray. Bussi's pace will certainly pose problems, you would think, at the end of what has been a very intense encounter for Freiburg. I think if you'd have offered them a 1-1 draw before the game, they would have happily accepted it, Freiburg. Having taken the lead in this game, they might feel like there's more on offer still. Janu Levels with those fresh legs off the bench. Finds the fresh legs of Bussi. Early pass to Pop, who lets it run to Svenja Hood. Back heel to Latvai! Oh! It would have been a lovely goal, but the finish wasn't there from Lena Latvai. Freiburg are really playing with fire right now. Wolfsburg are getting the game stretched. And unlike in the first half, they're carving out chances of better quality. Latvai didn't want to go for the first time effort, set herself well, but strikes wide. Egli with a back heel in an ill-advised area, and there was an immediate call from Edmond Kaplani. Keep things simple, Leila. She is still young, Leila Egli, 18 years old, known as being a bit of a street footballer in terms of her style of play. She made her debut as a 15-year-old in the Women's Champions League If I'm not mistaken, she is still the youngest debutante ever in that competition. Fresh from signing that contract extension until 2029. When asked about it, she said, well, Wolfsburg, they're just my club. Still feels that this team have huge potential, even if they are going through some transitional years. They're knocked off their perch by Bayern München as the dominant #1 force in German women's football. That's not a foul on Pop. Yes, she was off balance. I know that's not easy. Momentum playing a part, but Sharad here did nothing really to be penalised, in my opinion. Take a look at this again. Don't get me wrong, she gives a little push in the back. You know what, maybe if there's two hands, it's difficult to tell from that angle whether she used two hands or one. If it's one, you say no foul. If it's two, you probably have to give it. Now Bussy to Pop. The battle is on for precious points on offer tonight. This game has taken on a very different complexion to the DFB Pokal der Frauen round of 16 match we had 3 weeks ago. Because Freiburg are in this battle and they never really were in that cup tie. Now Karl, that's a nice ball. Lisa Kolb. A rare sight of goal for Freiburg. And they get a corner. It's only their second shot of the second half. Selina Vorbian with the first that was blocked. They're not going to have many chances, which means they have to make a lot out of a little. Set pieces offer a real avenue to goal here. Selina Vorbian. Right into the mix, and there was no one at the back post. Wouldn't have got on it anyway. Johannes plucks it out of the air. Now Bussy released on the counter, and good run by Svenja Hoot. Nice idea by Bussy. Cut out and a chance for another change. Janina Minge. Perhaps a surprise exclusion from the Wolfsburg starting lineup today, but given her exploits for Wolfsburg during some very intense weeks before the international break, and then her exploits for Germany during an intense international break, which saw them lose the Nations League final to Spain 3-0 on aggregate. 2 games in which they were left to rue missed chances, especially from the game in Kaiserslautern on home soil, where they arguably could have won and should have won 1 or 2-0. They live to regret the spurned opportunities, and then of course in the second leg, lest we forget that goal-scoring chance for Nicole Anyomi when it was still 0-0, and you just wonder if she'd scored that, what could have happened? In the end, the title holders defend their title. Corner for Wolfsburg, very dangerous for Benkart. Somehow she gets a punch on the ball, despite being under immense pressure. Janu Levels now, it opens up for Janu Levels, shot into the body of Sharad here. Kieland wants her second of the evening, spilled! And Dijkstra is there to pounce! The comeback is complete! From a goal down, Wolfsburg lead 2-1. Lara Benkart has been brilliant all evening in keeping Wolfsburg at bay. But she lets herself down when she lets the ball spring clear. And Dijkstra, the centre-back, with the presence of mind of a veteran striker. Right place, right time. And Wolfsburg for the first time tonight, in front against Freiburg.
Zweite Bälle!
tough break for Freiburg, tough break for Laura Benkart. Justine Kieland with the first goal, her first of the season. Kieland shot, spilled for the second, the first of the season for Caitlin Dijkstra. And it's not a lesson that Freiburg needed to learn, because let's be honest, it's a lesson they've learned many a time against the She-Wolves, but one goal just isn't enough. And you can't score and then completely collapse your lines and stop tapping into the bravery, stop being courageous. Because it was that bravery, it was that courage that produced the opening goal. But the fact is, since Leila Egli's goal, Freiburg have only had 3 shots. One in the first half, in the 14th minute, then we had to wait until the early exchanges of the second half, and we've since had 2 more. But right now this is shaping up as one of those nights where Wolfsburg aren't at their best, but they might get all 3 points despite that fact. And maybe that's what you have to be after the final international break of the calendar year of 2025. Challenging circumstances, players travelling all over the continent, making their way back, drip-fed back into the team, and as Stefan Lech pointed out, he only had all of his players at his disposal yesterday for the final training session before this match. And as a result, there were some teething problems in the encounter. Edmond Kaplani and co. took full advantage of that. A world-class goal from Leila Egli, separating the sides, but in letting Wolfsburg come on strong, Freiburg played with fire and got burned. Taken out by Elena Bientz there. Easy decision for the referee, Naomi Breyer. Now his side have ultimately done what he called on them to do, Edmond Kaplani, but unfortunately Wolfsburg are still one of the best teams in Europe. And they still have the propensity to punish you. Exactly what they've done tonight. And it'll feel so harsh on Freiburg because the first goal defended well, but it just slips all the way through. Everyone anticipating a touch from Pop. It didn't really get produced. And still the ball crept in at that far corner. And then the second goal, Laura Benkart, who has dealt with every moment of danger with real grace tonight, and that one shot from Kieland spills clear and it proves pivotal. Now, all Freiburg can hope for is that there might be one lucky punch left in this game for them to maybe snatch an equaliser. That was a nice idea with the pass. Touch from Kuva makes life difficult for Johannes, but credit to the Wolfsburg keeper. Dealt with what was an awkward clearance. Wedemeyer with an important touch on the ball. Enderman can't complete the clearance. Wedemeyer does. but fails to pick out Pop. Well won back by Vorbian, unfortunately for her, a lack of calm in play there from Lisa Karl. Justine Kielan does well. Levels now to Bussy, looking for Hoot. Enderman arrives, but some last-ditch defending there from the Freiburg captain Lisa Karl. Cuts out the chance for Wolfsburg to make it 3-1. Cards punches the corner, but again doesn't really deal with the danger. A couple more changes for the visitors. Madge Schneider and Nora Scherer are coming on. Nia Cenk makes way. You can hear there Selina Vorbian is being sent up front. Tessa Blumenberg is the other player that makes way. So Vorbian, it sounds like, is going to be the lone striker now for Freiburg, who are right now operating without a recognised striker, because Firmly's off, having been substituted in the 60th or 61st minute. Luca Beerkoltz out with illness. Already Silag out with illness. Blumenberg had a few bright moments against her former club, but it's been a stifling second half for SC Freiburg, as now Pop draws the foul.
Liga! Verspielen, nicht jedes Mal das Gleiche.
Yeah, a little clash of heads there between Dardottir and Alex Pop. Free kick comes in. Kuva tried to get ahead to the ball but didn't. Bussy will recycle now under pressure from Vorbian. Supports from Minga. Bussy. Now with Levels. Pop wants another foul, but isn't going to get it. Of studs up about it. She gets a pretty quick yellow card. Frustrated given some of the challenges she's been on the end of, but take a look at this. Yeah, I mean, that's a nasty one from Alex Pop. It's not enough for a red card, I don't think. I'd have to see it again to determine. There she felt she was fouled by Dardottir. And she probably had a good case to make as well, truth be told, against the Icelandic centre-back. Real battle on now, and it has been all second half. Right, you have to give credit to Wolfsburg because they're rising to the challenge. They're not shying away from the battle at hand. certainly something that Wolfsburg couldn't afford tonight, was to potentially drop more points. Give Bayern München the opportunity to extend what is already a 6-point lead at the summit. Wolfsburg, if they can hold on to this 2-1 win, will cut it to 3. Bayern, of course, in action later this weekend, but one of their tougher games of the season on the road against Eintracht Frankfurt. And again, much like Wolfsburg have maybe had some teething issues in this game due to the international break and the excerpts of their players on international duty, then you have to think that Bayern and Frankfurt will probably have the same issue to deal with. Pop applies the pressure, and the pressure is enough to force a loose pass out of Stegemann that makes life more awkward for Benkart than she wanted it to be.
Weiter, bring ihn vor die Kette! Vor die Kette festmachen!
Wolfsburg certainly not sitting comfortably with this 2-1 lead, though they are still the side that have a pretty firm grip on the game. Freiburg are trying to get stuck in, but that is easier said than done, though the chance arrives now. First cross blocked. Is there another chance to get it in there? Overrun in the end by Nora Scherer. They have to run those types of risks though. There you see. Now the chance for a third, and Alex Pop fails to seize upon what could have been a very costly mistake there by Greta Stegemann. I think Pop was trying to play the pass to Enderman. And now you can see Wolfsburg. They know they've been in for a battle tonight, and they are in no rush to take a corner like this. On the turn. That really shouldn't come as a surprise as well, that Wolfsburg are a team that have more strength and depth than Freiburg, and you just need to look at these substitutions that the She-Wolves have made and then compare them to the ones that Freiburg have made. And Freiburg haven't brought bad players off the bench by any stretch of the imagination, but we have to be realistic. Wolfsburg and their squad are of a slightly different calibre than Freiburg's, and have been for a very long time. Freiburg are a team that, just as Bayern München, can spring a surprise at any point. They can thwart you, they can deny you all 3 points. Upsets are certainly part of their repertoire. And they were on for an upset here tonight, Freiburg, but having taken the lead through that magnificent goal by Leila Egli, which I still think will probably be the goal of the weekend. But there's plenty of games to come that could still top it. It'll be up there though, it will be a candidate. But the problem for Freiburg was, having taken that lead, they never really pushed the issue and pushed for a second. And they actually fell into the trap that they did from the start of the cup tie, which is, having taken the lead, they then showed Wolfsburg a little bit too much respect, and that might be the only criticism that Edmond Kaplani has of his side tonight. Here we get to see the goal again. The brilliance! Picking out the top corner from Leila Egli. A truly stunning effort. Shot from range, but they can't necessarily resort to those types of tactics, Edmond Kaplani's side. That was a nice touch. Nice pass that's forced Scherer a little wide. Oh, the cut back to no one from Nora Scherer. To say for the She-Wolves, they are doing quite well to keep the jeopardy out of the situation. Freiburg are doing their best to try and inject it into the game. Oh, Pop! She's in behind Alex Pop to seal the deal for Wolfsburg. This time the goal is definitely hers. And just like in the DFB Pokal, it's a 3-1 lead for Wolfsburg. Just in different circumstances. Tonight they had to come from a goal down. But it's a case of deja vu for Freiburg at the AOK Stadion. Pop moves on to 7 for the season. She is now the outright top goal scorer in the Frauen-Bundesliga for Wolfsburg. She was never going to pass up that chance, was she? A night where she has shown off her battling qualities, but she gets to show off her finishing ones too. And unfortunately again for Freiburg, all the fight, all the spirit falls just short. Stine Johannes still short of clean sheets since becoming a Wolfsburg goalkeeper, signing from Eintracht Frankfurt in the summer. Just 1 in the Frauen Bundesliga and now just 2 in 18 games as a she-wolf. I think she would have expected to keep more. But Wolfsburg's back line, since Stefan Lech took charge in the summer, hasn't quite been as stable. And that really is the only issue for them. Goal-scoring wise, they've got no problems. They've now got 40 in 12 games in the Frauen Bundesliga, matching Bayern right now. But again, as mentioned, Bayern are in action later this weekend against Eintracht Frankfurt. For Wolfsburg, 4 games between now and the end of the year. Next up, a trip to Madrid to face Real Madrid in the Champions League. I hold the thought because Bussy bearing down on goal and just took a heavy touch that let Stegemann recover the situation. But a trip to Madrid to face Real, then a trip to Nuremberg in their penultimate Frauen Bundesliga game of the year, and then back-to-back home games, the first against Chelsea in the Champions League, the second against Hamburg. Benkart with a good punch clear. Of course, talking about that Hamburg game, Freiburg missing out on the chance for revenge here tonight. Wolfsburg will be looking for revenge for that 3-3 draw from match day 1. Lest we forget, they were 3-1 up in that game and they ended up drawing 3-3 against the newly promoted side. A late red-faced moment for Stine Johannes in that particular match when Svea Stoltz's free kick somehow crept all the way through and just over the line. And again, the replays we got weren't conclusive, but the replay shown on the Hamburg social media channels was. The ball definitely crossed the line, and fully. Bussy with another chance to add a 4! Oh, she's denied by the offside flag this time, which was very sharp in being raised. And truth be told, a 3-1 scoreline makes it look more comfortable than it was tonight. A 4-1 would really not be a fair reflection of the fight we've seen from Freiburg. Fascinating fixture under the Friday night floodlights. Freiburg miss out on the chance for revenge for the DFB Pokal exit 3 weeks ago. They took the lead through the pick of the goal scored by Lele Egli inside the quarter-hour mark. But Wolfsburg came on strong in the second half, 3 goals unanswered, and ultimately it's the same result in the league as it was in the cup. Final score, Wolfsburg 3, Freiburg 1. Well, this game took on a slightly different dynamic when Freiburg scored the opening goal of this game, which they didn't manage to do in the cup. On that occasion, their goal in the 3-1 defeat was a consolation effort by Sophie Nachtigall. Back then, it was the pick of the goals as well, and today Lele Egli does get the pick of the goals. A stunning effort that found the top corner, that broke the deadlock, and gave Freiburg hope that the revenge might be possible. But unfortunately, Wolfsburg type of team that they've got the strength and depth, that if you don't convert more of your chances and you don't capitalize on the momentum you generate, then you tend to be punished. And while there was an element of